Okay, welcome back to another day of positivity. Today will be the last day that we're going to talk about the most essential and fundamental passage of the Torah, love your neighbor as yourself. As we said, "V'ahavta l'recha kamocha," zeh klal gadol b'Torah, to love one's fellow Jew, neighbor as oneself is one of the most fundamental rules of the Torah. It's wanted to bring it to your attention. The Gadol Ador of Gershon Edelstein, the Rosh Yeshiva Panovich, sent out a letter to all the Rosh Yeshivas and Menahalim, directors of the entire Haredi Jewish system, that he believes that unfortunately we had some terror attacks in Israel, and the reason is that they weren't putting enough emphasis on common decency to respect, because practically speaking, to love your Jew as yourself is to respect your fellow Jew as yourself, as it says in the Tana de Belial, which brings us to today's Yerushalmi. The Yerushalmi, based on yesterday, has a fascinating machloket. Ben Azai argues on his rabbi and says, Rebbe, I believe the most important passage of the Torah is not to love your neighbor as yourself. Rather, I believe it to be that B'Selem Elokim Nivra Adam, that a person has to realize that he's created in the image of God. Now, the Mashkiach of Ner Yisrael, Rav David Kornglass, asked, how is it possible that Ben Azai, which was a student of Rabbi Akiva, would have the audacity and say that it's more important to know that one is created in the image of God than even love your neighbor as yourself? So he said a fascinating thing. He said Ben Azai is not arguing on Rabbi Akiva. He admits, but he's saying a prerequisite to loving your neighbor as yourself is you have to love yourself. Now, why should one love himself? This is crucial beyond important. Because if you don't love yourself, you can't love others. He said the reason why we have to love ourselves is because God loves us. We have a soul, which is a spark of the Almighty. And one sees this constantly in communities that are low class. If a person doesn't respect himself and love himself, how does he expect others to love him? So let's understand that to love your neighbor as yourself means you have to love yourself. Why should you love yourself? Because you have a soul. Once you love yourself, you can share that glorious love with others.